Yo, it's Rob here from Showdown. Today we are doing Anime Gauntlet Part 14. Let's get right into it. Alright, so first up here, it looks like we have Goldie Roger running the Naruto Gauntlet. Now this is going to be very tough, obviously, if you're looking towards the bottom row here, but let's just start with Danzo. Danzo literally only has one shot to really end Roger, and I don't even think he'll be able to pull it off, because if we're looking at what Roger has achieved, if we're looking at what Roger has shown us against other strong haki users within the One Piece verse, with insane future sight, great conquerors, great armament, Ryuo, and all of these things, one can only assume that Roger has reached the height or the closest to the height of that power. And now he's being matched up against a Danzo who has a bunch of Sharingan eyes embedded into his body, so obviously we're gonna be seeing the multiple Izanagis that he was using against 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. But Roger is no scrub. Roger definitely has access to future sight observation haki if we are talking about him being in conversations with Whitebeard, Rocks, Garp, Shanks. One can only assume Roger has great future sight. And if Roger's able to perceive Danzo's movements, if he's able to foresee the Izanagi, the answer here is Roger. Next up, we are going with Tsunade, and clearly we can see in the picture here, she has the 100 healings technique. It doesn't matter. Tsunade is going to be getting cleared because she's going to be focusing on strictly healing herself when she's dealing with the onslaught of attacks from Roger coming with pure Conqueror's haki. I mean, that is just too much to bear. You're talking about Roger's Conqueror's haki rivaling a Whitebeard who has been stated to have the power to destroy the world with his devil fruit, and also his haki is elite as well. So you think Tsunade will be able to pull that off? We can say that she was able to crack an imperfect Susanoo of Madara's, but again, that's nothing that Roger really needs to worry about. His haki is solidified. Next up, we can see the third Hokage in his prime though. This is obviously Saratobi Sensei. We know how elite he is. Earth and fire are obviously his chakra natures, and he's very great in that aspect, but I'm not really worried about any of that. The only thing Roger should be worried about when you're talking about Hiruzen is the Reaper Death Seal. We obviously got to see the third Hokage using the Reaper Death Seal towards the end of his years against an Orochimaru. Again, a technique like that takes a lot of time to prep, and it also requires you to catch the opponent. I don't believe Roger would have to worry about that. I believe Roger can speed blitz the third Hokage. Round 4, we have Kakashi Hatake. Now, let's make one thing clear. If this picture had double Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi, I know you guys hear me talk about it all the time, but yes, that form of Kakashi is sitting amongst my top 5 characters in Naruto Shippuden, so I definitely would think that form would be able to take down Roger. But since we are not looking at double Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi, pack him up. Now, I know some people may say, well, Rob, he does have access to the Kamui, and my answer to that is that's great. We know that Roger must have elite future sight, because when you're looking at what Kaido has stated about Roger, he stated that Roger's haki brought the One Piece world to heel. Think about all the great haki users that we've seen in the One Piece verse thus far, with future sight, with all of these things. Roger clearly would have to have access to this to bring the One Piece world to heel, which means he would be able to predict, he would be able to see a Kamui, he would be able to react to a Kamui, he would be able to speed blitz, he would be able to do certain things that Kakashi would not be able to counter. Now again, I do think that Kakashi is elite when he's in DMS. No DMS? Give it to Roger. We're moving on to the Yellow Flash in Minato Namikaze in round 5. Now it's starting to get a little bit tricky. Minato has access to the Rasengan because clearly he created the technique, and it's obviously one of the strongest ninjutsu techniques that we have seen in the Naruto series thus far. And not only do I believe Roger will be able to react to a Kamui, but Minato has proven the ability to react to a Kamui and actually defeat an Obito. Now granted, Obito was younger at the time, but still that is an impressive feat coming from Minato. Flying Raijin technique, teleportation jutsus, all of these things. Minato is one of the fastest shinobi in the Naruto verse. That would be problematic for Roger. My main thing with Minato going up against Roger is I think Roger's physical power with the haki, just the brute force of haki that Roger has access to, is higher than Minato's chakra reserve. Now I'm not gonna say that Minato does not have access to great chakra, obviously, but when we're looking at Naruto having great chakra reserves, when we're looking at what that's coming from, that's clearly coming from the Uzumaki side of the family. That's coming from Kushina. That's coming from the ceiling from the Uzumaki clan. Now if we're talking about Minato Edo Tensei form with half of Kurama's chakra, then of course he's winning. But without that, I'm still gonna go with Goldie Roger, yeah? Goldie Roger's moving on to round 6, which happens to be Tobirama, the second Hokage. I think Tobirama is elite, and obviously he's great with water style ninjutsu. He obviously created a bunch of jutsus that everybody has been using throughout the series, whether it is the reanimation jutsu or the flying Raijin technique. Shout out to a Minato, shout out to an Orochimaru. All of that sounds great. I still think that Roger's haki is just too much much to handle. Roger has embarrassed opponents that have boxed against some of the strongest in the One Piece series like Oden. The same Oden who used his Enma sword to scar Kaido, the same Enma that Zoro is still learning how to control to this day. Roger one-shotted him. How are you gonna counter techniques like Kamusari with great conquerors, advanced conquerors at that? It's just a lot to deal with some of these Naruto characters because again, I think they are great with ninjutsu, but when you're talking about their physical build, their physical prowess that they have, Roger's demonstration of just physical strength really sits above. Now at round 7, it looks like we have Naruto. Obviously, there's a bit of confusion for me on this end because why is Hashirama sitting at round 8 above Naruto? To me, it makes no sense whatsoever. We all love the first Hokage, but I believe that Naruto is stronger than him, obviously. But that's another topic for another day. At round 7, Goldie Roger's gonna lose here. Now, I know there's gonna be people out there that say, Rob, how can you say this? You picked Luffy to beat Naruto on multiple occasions, yet you're saying that Roger would lose to Naruto, even though we know that Luffy can't beat Roger, at least not yet. And to that, I would say you're right. But this is why not all versus battles are equal. This is why there are differences in powers, there are differences with hacks and abilities. I never once doubted Naruto's strength or his power. What I was debating was how would he be able to react to the hacks that Luffy has. The hacks that Luffy has access to, Roger does not have. Roger has no devil fruit. Roger is quote unquote a hockey man. So this means that when Roger's going up against an opponent like Naruto, his versatility is at an all-time low. He's really just going to be focusing on strictly hockey. And that's a problem against Naruto because again, the chakra reserves are out of this world. He has access to the Nine Tails if he wants to. He can go into Kurama chakra mode, and then once you're going into that mode, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal. It's too much for Roger to deal with. The shadow clones are going to be going crazy. It's just way too much. But Hashirama, on the other hand, in round 8, this one is debatable. I think that Hashirama would definitely have to tap into his wood style golem that we got to see against Madara. He has great regenerative skills as well, and that's something that Roger would definitely have to look out for. But Hashirama, on the other hand, would definitely have to look out for Roger's Conqueror's Haki. We know that Conqueror's Haki is not just having the ability to impose your will on others, but now there's a physical aspect of it. You can use it for attacks and defense. Advanced Conqueror's coding is so powerful that Shanks was able to use that against Captain Kidd and literally delete off the Kid Pirates in one attack. And if we have Roger somewhere relative to Shanks, higher, lower, depending on what you believe, that's still very formidable for a Hashirama. For round 8, I truly don't know. I think it really can go either way. You guys let me know down in the comment section below, man, because that one's tough. Let's keep going. Shout out to the Discord, man, for this My Hero Gauntlet. I've been waiting for this. My Hero Season 6 has been going crazy. We have Lemillion, the GOAT, Mirio Togata running the gauntlet. First up in round 1, we have Ryuko. Ryuko's quirk is not a bad one. Obviously, she's able to transform into a dragon and she gets super speed, super strength, super defense, all these things. Great stat buffs. She was even able to hold down a Shigaraki for a little bit. Even though Shigaraki wasn't at full 100%, it still is an impressive feat. But she's no Mirio. Let's not get it twisted. Mirio Togata pulled up to the battlefield for the first time in a very long time because he obviously did not have access to his quirk and cleared multiple high-end Nomus upon entrance. As far as I know, Ryuko's not doing that. Round 2, Mirko, somebody that did box against a lot of high-end Nomus. Mirko has the rabbit quirk. We saw what she was able to do against Dr. Garaki's high-end Nomus when she was in the building going absolutely wild. And Mirko, obviously her durability is insane. But that's the problem when you're talking about Mirio Togata. How is she gonna fare against him? Who is able to phase between attacks, between objects, all of these things. Mirio is very evasive and he's very strategic in his movements. And we saw that in his battle against Overhaul. Somebody that can literally destroy you on touch. Mirio had Overhaul stress. I believe Mirko's elite. I believe her durability is insane, but I don't know how she would really match up well against a Mirio. Round 3, we have Hawks. Now, Hawks is elite. As Endeavor's sidekick, you have to be. Hawks is more of an assassin to me. He needs to have built up a great situation for him to really win. Now, I'm not saying that Hawks can't go toe-to-toe with some villains, but Hawks does not have the ability to contend with a Dabi. And his quirk ability is a little bit too vulnerable for my liking. If he runs out of feathers, if somebody's able to burn the feathers off or anything like that, Hawks is now finish. There's no recovery, no nothing. It takes too much time. Do I think Hawks can hold his own against Muriel? Absolutely. I believe it will be a great 1v1 battle. I just don't think that the feathers are really going to be helping him out, whether he's in close range or long range, because again, Muriel is great at using his quirk. He's able to phase through objects, phase through the ground, phase through walls, and all of these things. Hawks is gonna have to stay airborne, and Muriel can jump up there. It does not matter. He can get up in the sky, which leaves Endeavor in round 4, and yeah, this is where Muriel stops. The problem with going up against an Endeavor is that his heat is so powerful, he'll be able to burn around him, so much so that Muriel would have to stay at a distance, and you do not want to fight Endeavor at a distance because he will be able to use techniques that can catch you with his flames. Ooh, okay, so we have Ulquiorra from Bleach running the gauntlet. It looks like it's anime only here. So we know Ulquiorra is the 4th Espada. He was able to fight against a Vassal Lord Ichigo. Well, actually, I guess not really, but still it was close enough. Round 1. We have Lancer from Fate Stay Night. When I think about Lancer from Fate Stay Night, the first thing that comes to mind is that he is a great fighter, but he bites more than he can chew all the time. He often fights against opponents that he's not ready for at the time, and it just looks bad. Exhibit A, Saber. Now, if you're fighting against Saber, your swordsmanship has to be elite, which is something that Lancer was able to do, but again, Saber was fighting against Lancer multiple times without even being at full power. Sword not even visible, Noble Phantasm not even brought out, or any of these things. Now, Lancer does have one unique technique that would be useful against Ulquiorra, and that's the ability to use that spear, elongate it, and then once it strikes you, you can reverse cause and effect. That's very, very powerful. But again, Ulquiorra's speed is so much faster than that we were seeing Lancer deal with in Fate Stay Night. And also, he would have to be dealing with multiple Ceros that Ulquiorra can throw at him, obviously in his resurrection form. That's a little bit too much for him at that moment in time. Ulquiorra is winning in round 1, and we're going to round 2 with Yuno. This might be the toughest matchup of all the gauntlets on this video so far. Yuno is powerful. He obviously has access to a wind spirit that's able to bring out the best of his abilities. When you're looking at opponents like Zagrid, the Word Soul Devil, Yuno didn't even have anti-magic or arcane magic, but he was able to use his wind magic to actually still attack Zagrid because he was absorbing the surrounding arcane magic within the area and was applying it to his own magic. This is how skillful Yuno is. It really comes down to the matchup, because I think Yuno is more skilled. He's a better fighter overall than Ulquiorra, but Ulquiorra is definitely a much faster opponent than Yuno, at least from what I'm seeing so far in the Black Clover verse, because Vassal Lord Ichigo, I mean, that speed speaks for itself. Is he ready for Ulquiorra in his resurrection form? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Maybe manga Yuno takes it, but anime Yuno, I don't think so, at least not yet. Round 3, Hawkeye Mihawk, Dracula Mihawk, the world's quote-unquote strongest swordsman in the One Piece world. The first thing that comes to mind in this debate is that if you're talking about Dracula Mihawk, you obviously have to bring up red-haired Shanks' name. And if you know anything about red-haired Shanks, his hockey is immaculate. He has great conquerors. I mean, he's just elite overall. If Mihawk is anything close to Shanks, Ulquiorra stops in round 3. And I know it sounds wild because some people may be saying, well, Rob, do you think that Mihawk can defeat Vassal Lord Ichigo or any of these things? Well, let's look at what Ulquiorra has in his arsenal first. He has Ceros. Mihawk would be able to literally use his Haki sword slashes, the very same Haki sword slash that we've seen in the Marineford War, to combat that. So long range fighting is not really going to work for Ulquiorra. Speed wise, if we're giving Mihawk a better advantage or somewhere relative to a Shanks, that means we have to give him elite future sight observation Haki because Shanks has access to it. That means a lot of Ulquiorra's movements are going to be predicted, y'all. It's a lot for Ulquiorra to deal with when you're talking about Mihawk, the Black Blade, just there's too much Haki going on, at least in this mode. In round 4, you're looking at Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, another stomp. Hiei fought against Makuro, who happened to be one of the strongest demons in the Yu Yu Hakusho verse, at least at the time they battled. The Dragon Flame technique is obviously going to be coming out against an Ulquiorra. I don't think Ulquiorra would be able to counter that with any of those puny Ceros in comparison to that. And if we're talking about swordsmanship, Hiei is definitely in the conversation. And in round 5, we have Ryuko Matoi from Kill La Kill. Now, I don't know what this form really is from. I'm hearing that this is her ultimate form from a game. I don't know if that's canon or I don't know what's going on, but Kill la Kill fans, you guys let me know down in the comment section below if Ryuko is taking this matchup against Ulquiorra, because I don't know the full capacity of this form here, but it does look insane. Now, if we're looking at her previous form, at least shown in the anime, Ryuko is literally one of the fastest characters on this chart, hands down. Now, I don't know if Ryuko has really dealt with opponents in Kill la Kill that I could say are comparable to Vassal Lord Ichigo, because clearly Raguel had the original life fibers, obviously the most powerful versions of them and all of these things, and it took Ryuko and Satsuki to team up together just to defeat her. But how does that compare against Spiritual Pressure? Because when I'm thinking about the power system in the Bleach verse going up against the power system in Kill la Kill, is going to the Bleach side automatically. So do I think that Ryuko would be able to keep up with Ulquiorra? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this form right here really gets the job done. I honestly don't know. Now, you guys let me know down in the comment section below which gauntlets do you agree with, and thanks so much for watching. Again, make sure you guys join the Discord, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.